me. I'm typing.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. While we're waiting for everything to feed through to the folks out there and for everyone to tell us whether or not you could hear me, if we've got any other problems that's popping up, I'm going to remind everyone to go over to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list, look through the menu there. We've got Lola's deals. She posts daily deals. There's a merch link on there. There's links to all the different platforms that we're on. If you can't find a video or something like that, it's probably been removed from YouTube, and we've put it over on Gunstreamer or somewhere else. So check out hankstrange.com for all of that. I think that we're feeding through to the folks out there. I know we've had some issues with YouTube notifying people that we're going live, and Lola's trying to work on that right now so that the folks out there can, one, smash the thumbs ups, and two, share this on your social media. Help us out. That will be much appreciated. I'm going to press the button and
welcome back to the Hank Strange situation.
You have to tell me when to hit the jazz hands, brother.
Make sure you subscribe. Typing. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified. Jazz hands comes right now. There goes the jazz hands. All right.
Hello, America.
That's right. We are live. I hope you got your big girl panties on. This is episode 534 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Our special guests tonight are Will Beattie. Did I say it right?
Thank you.
There you go.
You got it.
Will Beattie.
I can't even see you guys. I'm trying to get this link shared out, but anyway, it's a pleasure to be back tonight. Such an honor. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yes, welcome back, Will. He's from Bear Creek Cattle Company, and of course, self-titled apparently is what I'm finding out here. Internet troll, Chris CloverTac.
Something like that. What's up, Will? What's up, Hank?
What's up, man?
Howdy.
He's here dropping troll knowledge on us.
Maybe. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Let's have some fun. I want to have some fun.
Absolutely. Me too, man. I'd like to have some fun. I know lots of people are like down in the doldrums right now. There's some people are spending lots of time indoor. Although it looks to me like everybody's still getting out and moving around because sun's still shining, the sky's still blue.
Well, man, those people that have a room to get out and move around. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday. Of course, I'm sorry if I'm not looking directly at y'all for the second, but yesterday I was out working on the farms. Hey, now I can see everybody. I was out working on the farms and I was riding around and I thought to myself, I was like, if I didn't immerse myself in the news and I didn't know all the things going on, it was 70 degrees, it was sunny, it would have been so easy to think, this is a normal day, this is normal life. And, I really think that mentally does people good. It's a good service. So I think people ought to get out and as much as they can, I understand the social distancing. And obviously if you'll stay outdoors, there's less chance of, it being transmittable from person to person. Just wash your hands and be careful. But I think sunshine does people mentally well.
Absolutely, absolutely. What would you say to that, Clover?
No, I'm one of those people that I can handle it to an extent with it being overcast. Some of the best weather for creating content. But if it's rainy, if it's too bad, if I go without sunshine too long, I'll start to get depressed. I'll start to have some issues. Definitely. I thrive on and require sunshine for sure.
Yeah,
well, that's a proven fact for humans. You get vitamin D from the sun. It helps depression. A lot of Arctic climates have a high rate of depression because of that. So I'm glad for spring and summer. And I think once all the warm weather hits and sunshine comes out, they can mandate whatever they want. But I think people are going to have cabin fever and want to get out and rejoin life.
Yeah. I think that's so another one of the things that's adding to all of this is the news, for example, although I would recommend folks try to keep up on what's going on, especially locally. But the news just seems to be pounding the living daylights out of people and telling people this is like the end of the world. And this is the reason why we've got everyone going out there and buying everything they could possibly get their hands on. And obviously, yes, this virus is here. I think it's killed over 1,000 people in America. Obviously killed thousands of people around the world. There's lots of people that are infected with it. It's something that we're going to have to live with from now on, right? There's all this different stuff that's going on out there. But Like, what exactly are we supposed to do about that other than what we're doing? Right now, if we set off all the nuclear bombs that all the countries own on the face of this planet, it's not going to take too long. The planet's still going to keep spinning. The universe is still going to keep existing. Life will come back. Civilization will build itself up again.
Well,
We're just
and,
a speck here, you know?
Jeff Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park is what I'm reminded of. Life will find a way, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, and the thing is, with nuclear explosions, you do have residuals and half-lives and stuff. So, this is a virus. The virus will die. Now, I'm definitely not a CDC expert, but I am afraid that once everybody gets back to normal life, we're going to have a resurgence. Because there's going to be one or two people out there that still have it. It's going to start the cycle again. But, what do you do? I mean, we've been dealing with the flu for decades. I do think this is a pretty serious virus. But, I have to agree with President Trump's statement of don't let the cure be worse than the problem.
Well, and here's the thing about this. This is not the only virus that exists currently on the face of this planet. Okay, there will be other viruses, and no matter what we do, I was looking at the press conference yesterday, right? And I forgot the name of the doctor, but he was saying that this is going to come back in cycles. So when it gets hot, when it gets hot, this may go away, but when it cools down, it's going to come back. We're probably going to go through this for years before we fully get a vaccine in, but it's really never going to go away. There's other things that have not gone away. We've dealt with things like this, not just like in America, but in the whole world. For some reason right now, everyone is getting blown up about it. And of course, I don't want anyone to get sick. I don't want anyone to die. But it's a reality of life that people die every day. Right? I mean,
agreed.
So people die in car accidents, people die from lots of other accidents, people die of natural causes, all kinds of things happen in the world and people die.
On your point, I did some research just out of curiosity. 22 people a day die in car accidents, and nobody has stopped driving cars. No. If you want to know my opinion, the two things that make it different, one, the media, you touched on that. But secondly, when you hear of somebody that has been in a tragic car accident, that's not contagious to you. And I think human nature is to be selfish, and it's like, oh my, I'm in that age group, I'm in that category, I should fear what the media is telling me. So everybody panics, and there again, you're feeding the flame when you turn on the news. It's 110% negativity, and it's almost wishful negativity. And I have my reasons that I think that they want the economy to suffer. And there may be an element of protection. I certainly think that Trump wants to do the right thing. He wants to separate everybody, take the quick hit, and hope that we can at least handle the capacity and then get back to life as normal.
Yeah. Were you going to say something there, Chris?
No, I think that's right. I mean, I think once that we deal with this, I think you talk about the economy. That's one of the biggest things that worries me. And I think it'll come back. I think it'll come back quick. I mean, we're not going to be without infrastructure. We're not, it's not like there's going to be total loss in everything. And to the point of dealing with things like this, I read that there is a sister strain, I guess you would call it, in Saudi Arabia that comes from camels. And they deal with that. It's pretty much seasonal, and they just deal with it. The only way for them to eradicate it would be to get rid of all the camels, and I mean they can't do that. So it's something they deal with. Their medical personnel over there is used to it. The people are aware of the symptoms and how to recognize it and what goes on and what you need to do, if you have those, and you just deal with it. And then, so there's going to be a certain aspect of that, I think, that we're going to have to learn over here.
Yeah, and we are going to learn how to deal with this thing just like we've learned to deal with other things. But if we don't actually get about doing stuff, it's kind of that like idle hands, idle minds thing, right? If we leave people in this idle mode for a long time, we're going to we will have some problems, and right now we don't really have, other than that, we don't really have any major problems other than the ones that we're, I think, in a lot of ways mentally spinning ourselves into. I think obviously they're trying to slow it down, maybe get in front of it, and then because you're going to have to let everyone go back to what they were doing.
Oh, I think people are going to. I don't think it's going to be you're going to let them. Yeah. I'm telling you, you hold Americans down long enough, and cabin fever is going to set in. People are capitalists by nature. That's what this country was built on. And sooner or later, they're going to go back to work. They're going to restart life. I'm going to say early April. That's when enough will be enough. The risk is worth going back, and I think they're going to do that. And I'm ready to talk about positive stuff. Yeah. I'm tired of talking about Corona. Every minute of my life. I mean, it's
they've messed up the beer. Corona's a good beer.
Oh no, man! They dropped the price on it, and I'm scooping that stuff up like gold, getting ready for the lake.
Oh, okay, all right. Next thing is gonna be like Dos Equis or something like that. As long as it's not Heineken, then it's all good. So we've got these guys here. If you guys have any questions or things that are going on that you want to talk about, I think we'll be happy to talk about it. But, I'm with the consensus here that I'd rather get into some fun, cool stuff, if you all have fun stuff that you want to talk about. Will, you've got things that are going on with Bear Creek Cattle Company. You make meat.
Well, I only harvest cattle. I don't. Well, I guess you could say I make it, but I manage the pasture.
You're a meat harvester
for the cattle to produce beef.
Okay.
So I've got some exciting stuff. Since the last time I was on the podcast, I signed a contract with Shop HQ, which is it's a national television network. I've done 3 TV shows so far. They're always live. For those of you that have never heard of Shop HQ, it's similar to other on-air consumer direct home shopping networks. So I go on basically for a few hours, and we show all of the video. Typically, I fly to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the network is hosted, and they show B-roll and just shots of the farm so people can get a true idea what it's like to be out on the farm and what it's like for me working cattle and raising cattle in a stress-free environment. Then I go on air and offer them as packages, and we sell nationwide. I started back in October of 2019. That's when I signed the contract, and my first show was December, and basically it's been monthly. I did a remote out of Hollywood, Florida, between Fort Lauderdale and Miami in January. Went back to Minneapolis last month, and I'll be on this Sunday. And it depends on where you live. I always get asked, well, what channel is that on? The easiest way to find it is go to shophq.com/channel finder and pop in your zip code. We're on both satellite networks, Direct and Dish, as well as all major cable providers nationwide, Amazon Fire, Roku, and there's a live stream through YouTube as well.
You're famous now.
Well,
compared to us YouTube guys,
No. I've got some other friends in the industry, of course, and some of them pick at me calling me a celebrity. I don't really like the term because celebrity typically has a negative connotation, but I do foresee the brand to grow, and they're transitioning me just from basically representing Bear Creek as the owner and selling beef to I'm going to be an on-air chef doing some cooking shows. And I was alluding to some of this before we went live, but I've got a show coming up with Shaquille O'Neal, Cooking with Shaq. Yeah,
nice.
It's going to be fun. And Paula Dean, we're going to do a partnership with her, and I'm really excited. It's a new chapter for me, and of course I still am passionate about firearms, so maybe I'll make a little bit of profit off of being a TV personality and get to buy more guns and ammo. So
there you go.
Of course, yes. More badassery inbound.
Yeah.
Right? That's always exciting. A good thing. Yeah. If you need bodyguards, man, hey.
Well, that's the one difference in me and a celebrity. I go armed. I don't need armed bodyguards. But I might need some pals, some beer drinkers.
If you need an entourage or whatever, we'll be like
Emotional.
entourage except around beef.
Exactly. You know, and right now it's really fun. So I also get asked, especially by friends, what it's like to be on TV, and you know what that life is like, and how it's affected my life. It is fun. It really spins you up. You know, you fly in, it's lights, camera, action, and being live, of course, everything is instantaneous, and you know, your bloopers are what they are. But I've become very comfortable, I guess, being in front of the camera. But it does raise your adrenaline level. You know, even as experienced as I'm becoming, I'm still kind of green, and I learn and improve each show. And the funny thing is, when I come back, initially I fly home and it's like back to birthing calves, chasing the bull, something's out. You know, it's like instant normal life. And I actually have become to look forward to that, because it's kind of fun to just be normal and be in your everyday comfort zone, and not have everything going on. But
Yeah.
it's a good life.
No, that's good. That's good. Stay grounded.
Oh, trust
You
me.
know, don't start like buying gold chains and, you know, expensive luxury cars, you know, and going to the strip club, making it rain. Don't start doing all that stuff.
Man, I was making ammo rain earlier, you know. I'm like rapping.
That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. That's not gonna, you know, that's not gonna ruin anything.
That's one of the fun things of living on a farm, because it's real life. And like right now, all the supermarkets are out of beef. You know, all of our local supermarkets. And what I've done is opened our doors to providing at a discount product to all the local families. And it's kept me really busy. I think we've served over 1,100 people in the last week. And I'm allowing them to come out and buy it at wholesale. And it's cool because they're so appreciative that we're there. All of a sudden, I become the most popular guy in town, but, you know, totally different reasons. And so, you know, being grounded is easy, man. It's just it's real life that I live.
Let me ask you this, Clover. If you've got any questions, feel free to jump in here.
Yeah.
So is it now easier to order the beef and stuff like that? Have you figured? Because I know the last time you were on, we were talking about it, because I was trying to figure out how I could get like on a subscription or something for some beef.
Yep.
You know, and I don't think everything was set up at that point.
It wasn't, and that's one of the huge benefits of selling nationwide. So when we finish processing now, it's in a package similar to what you would find at any other online consumer direct beef producer that, you know, Allen Brothers, Omaha Steaks, you know, I mean, there's a whole list of, you know, people that companies that people buy from over the years. But so we produce a packaged product like that. We currently offer, you know, just as a few examples, 4 20-ounce bone-in ribeyes is a package. We do 24 individually sealed brisket short rib cowboy steak burgers, and don't have to say that 3 times really fast. That's a lot, but that's a package. And what we have 2 ways that you can buy it. So obviously, when I'm on air, we take literally hundreds and hundreds of orders, and they're sitting in Atlanta in a warehouse at what we call our 3PL, or the third-party logistics company. And as soon as those orders come in digitally from when I'm on air, they get shipped out within 3 days nationwide.
Okay.
There is a push-button ready option. You can go to shophq.com and search for Bear Creek Cattle Company, and we have an online store there, and it will have all of those packages. Now, the only difference is I did notice that some of them were still offered at a discount, but sometimes when I'm not on air and it's just you want to buy in real time, the pricing changes. So, for instance, if you went, I looked yesterday just for an instance, and if you wanted to buy 4 bone-in ribeyes, the package is $200. But when we actually go on air, it'll be $139. So you're saving $60 off of the regular price.
Okay.
When I'm on air, and it may last for several days afterwards, but I'm certain they do that as incentive to try and focus all the purchases into one time frame so that we can get the orders shipped out.
Okay. I've got to see if I can get. Okay, I think I just found it here. So I'll pull that up. This is the shop HQ. If you go there and just search Bear Creek, you should be able to see that.
Simple enough.
You're saying that the best thing to do is go through here when you're live, and then you'll get a discount?
Yeah, or like as you pull up the website right now, you'll notice there's still a number of packages that are at the discounted rate. If you buy the burger package, for instance, I think it's $119 right now, and that's 24 5-ounce burgers. And you can take one or two out at a time. It's an awesome package. I think the short ribs are still on discount. Ossobucco, which is a really cool dish. It's cattle shank, and the reason we call it Ossobucco, that's an Italian dish that was created in Milan, Italy. And it's really a rave in a lot of the 5-star restaurants, but it's very marbled. It's a slow and low cut that you want to do over mashed potatoes, risotto, or rice. But that's available on the website. But, there's a number of packages that you can buy at a decent price right now.
Oh, cool. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to find out if there's like an affiliate thing going on here, man.
Yeah, we need to. We
get
need
a code or something. We can, we can help out with this.
Well, actually,
get in the beef business.
I don't know what the affiliate rebate is, but I would like to do that with I am, as you know, very close friends with a lot of gun tubers, and I support the industry. And the reason being is over the years before I really had made any national name for our brand, you guys supported us. We've been friends for several years, met at Iraq Veteran Range Day. I just did 2 YouTube shows with Eric with Iraq Veteran, and that should come out pretty soon.
Cool.
So, if there's anything that we can do so that you guys can continue to support us, but also help you in return, that would be awesome.
Yeah, this is a symbiotic thing here, man. First of all, big dude, a lot of this bigness is from beef. So, yeah,
Great.
Might as well get the good stuff. Clover, did you want to get a question in here for Will?
Well, I don't know about a question, but yeah, I mean, kind of a topic comes to mind, kind of spinning off what I've heard, the word ground so many times. And I know Will was talking about the stores being dried up and not being able to get a lot of beef. And I've noticed that somewhat here. I don't think it's as bad in my neck of the woods as it is some places. But one thing that I have noticed.
And you're in Texas, just, sorry.
I'm in Texas.
Yeah, you're in Texas, just for the folks who don't know. That's beef country.
And went into, I've been in several times since all this started to pick up some groceries and whatnot. And what I notice is it seems like with beef and with meat in general, it seems like the hamburger meat's all gone. It seems like the steaks are all gone, that sort of thing. And there's a lot of what I call junk meat. Now, Will probably can shed a little light of on what I mean by that technically, but I see a lot of junk meat still on the shelves. And so, I was thinking the other day, I asked my wife, we were in there, and I said, hey, do we still got the meat grinder? Because we could buy that and make our own hamburger meat, off of that. And, that led me down the road of thinking and talking about Will and the farming and the ranching and that sort of stuff. Right now, it's a very good time for folks out there. You've got time, you're at home, you can't do anything else really, to work on maybe gardening, maybe growing some of your own food, to go out to get cattle to do what Will's doing. That's expensive, takes a lot of time and effort and land and everything else. But a package of seeds and a little pot and some potting soil and stuff like that, and have some type of little garden on the back deck.
Chickens.
Chickens could certainly work.
You might not be able to do it in an apartment or a townhome, but if you have a small subdivision house, they make the little chicken, what we call chicken tractors. So they're movable chicken pens. You can put 3 or 4 hens in one of those pens and produce your own eggs. So at least you have some kind of protein supply. And I hope that this situation, it has been somewhat of a panic buy on a lot of items. Obviously, toilet paper, bullets, beef, but the real issue is America is not prepared. I mean, this is only like a warning shot, right, for a catastrophe. What if there wasn't all this panic time to run to the grocery store, and I hope that people will, not everybody's going to be prepared, because America has historically had very short-term memory on anything. Life's going to go back to normal, and people are going to forget all about, during the pain, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but they never end up doing it. But I hope, as a nation, for one thing, I hope we get our stinking medications to become produced in the U.S. instead of overseas. We've got critical medications produced overseas, and I'm afraid we're still going to see a bump in the supply of that, because there's always the backlash, right? There's some in a warehouse somewhere, but eventually that's going to run out, and if they're not producing it at the same rate, we're going to hit that at some point. So I hope that America globally fixes the problem, and I hope individuals, to your point, try to become more prepared. Maybe have a meat grinder. Now, I want to do a quick note on the junk meat, because I want to touch on that. So for me, as a producer, there's really no such thing as junk meat. I face that a lot when I'm selling beef, because it's more of a lack of education for certain pieces, like how you would cook it, what I can use it for. Because, I can name off so many cuts. You guys may be familiar with it, but I'm sure there's somebody in the audience that's never heard of this. So we've got teres majors. They're little pieces that come from the shoulder. They're like the fillet of the shoulder. We've got culottes. We've got tri-tips. We've got chuck eye steaks. There's so many little pieces of the cow, and even roast. All right, for instance, boneless short ribs. People would think, okay, the only way to do that is to cook it as a short rib. Well, they make excellent roasts. I do them in a Dutch oven with a little bit of wine sauce. You brown it first, put a little wine sauce and seasoning on it, and slow cook it, and it's fabulous. Even your shoulder roasts and stuff, that's not just a wintertime food. If you cook it in the summer, do it in the oven and use it for roast beef sandwiches. And it makes excellent fresh roast beef sandwiches. So, a lot of it is an education. So, and we have hard time. Ossobucco, for instance, that's a package that's a slow seller, nationally when I go on air. And the main reason, because it's an awesome cut, the main reason is everybody's like, what the heck is that? I've never heard of it. I don't think I want to try it. And nobody wants to get out of their comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. So to your point, there's a lot of good meat available out there. And, we certainly hope that people will utilize their resources and make do. Here for the local area, we're going to keep them supplied. So there's no ground beef shortage. There's no shortage of steaks. And they keep coming. We keep producing. And it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah. One of the things I think that's happened, CloverTac, you're right about it. I think we're just spoiled.
Very spoiled.
Yeah. So that's
and I say that definitely strongly, including myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of us. I think we're all spoiled.
People confuse preparedness and prepping with self-reliance. Two totally separate things. Mm-hmm. I don't grow a garden every year. I don't raise chickens. But that's something I've done in the past. Mm-hmm. I know how to do it. I know I can do it if I need to do it. Same way when it comes down to hunting and knowing, what to hunt, and as Will said, how to prepare it. If you're starving to death, who cares how it's prepared?
Yeah, exactly. You just
everybody
slap some fire on it and some salt and eat it.
Even in a post-apocalyptic situation, it'd be nice if it tasted good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I tell all of our customers, when they're calling, and, we actually, I think I mentioned this earlier, but we have a set retail price, and we reduced it down to wholesale for local families. But I told them, I was like, just because you feel like you're in a more strained situation doesn't mean you don't have to eat well. We're going to supply you the best. And but you're right. When you talk about being self-reliant and just prepping, so there's definitely a difference in even capacity. So I worry more about the truly urban areas. For guys like me, I've got a creek that runs right by my house. I have water filters. I've got chickens in the yard producing eggs. I've got obviously beef. Like, we'd be fine. Even if I wasn't the crazy prepper, and have a little bit of ammo stored back and a couple of guns and, those kind of things. I would obviously have more, but a tragic boating accident a few years ago took them. But
right,
anyway.
right. Yeah. That's not gonna work, but okay, I get it. Yeah, you know what? I think so. Let me see. First of all, let me remind everyone to smash the thumbs ups. Okay, I think that would actually help us out here. I know Lola was talking to the YouTube people, so I have some stuff along those lines, and then there's some other things I see coming up here. One of the things is that I think that we're probably too much using the old school way of shopping for things. And what I mean by that is going out to the supermarket or whatever it is every week and picking up meats and things like that. That's actually old school. I think we probably need to stop that. Everyone can't be a farmer. Everyone can't necessarily grow things and all that kind of stuff, even though you should probably try to have your own things. But you can, depending on how big your home is, and I guess if you live in the city you can't do this, but if you live in a home, you can get an extra freezer. You can buy things from places. You can buy stuff from like Bear Creek Cattle Company and store that up. And so when we run into this situation, you won't be standing outside of like Walmart in a freaking line waiting for food, because you already have these things and you're stocking up stuff. And even if things get bad, you should definitely, like, everyone out there should have canned food, where, hey, at least we could survive on that for a week or a couple of weeks if we had to, even without getting to, like, all the other, like, MRE type stuff or other dried foods that, people have for emergencies.
Well, it takes some getting used to. It definitely takes some practice and working around certain pay schedules and different things, and knowing your local supermarkets and different places you can go and shop. But I know here, and there's no doubt it's that way across the country. I mean, heck, they made TV shows, even on one thing I'm about to talk about, but is a lot of the sales that these have. So, for us, the toilet paper thing hit, right? And so I said something to my wife about paper towels. We were in town, and of course there wasn't any paper towels. And I said, I put the last roll of paper towels out. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And she's like, no, there's 2 more packages in the closet. She's like, they were on sale when I bought them. So instead of buying 1, she bought 3 or 4, or whatever it was, right? So when things are on sale, and it's non-perishable stuff like that, buy it. Extreme couponing, it takes a little bit of time, but if you're a person that has a little bit of time, if you've got a couple hours a day or something like that, because it does take time to do. My wife did it for quite a few years. It pays off in spades to do extreme couponing, and it's amazing. And it's one of those things where was
she ever in a TV show about that?
She never was, but she could have been.
Oh, okay.
And what do you need 20 tubes of toothpaste for? A lot of people will ask that. Well, first of all, you get those 20 deals of toothpaste, and you actually make $5 off the 20 things of toothpaste. So it would be silly not to do that. And then you've got barter material. You've got things to help out friends and family. People use toothpaste, right? Same way with dish soap or canned goods or pasta
if it's
or
not going to spoil. Yeah, if it's not going to spoil, what is wrong with having a year's supply?
Even if it is going to spoil, you can trade that off to other people for other things, right? So you're starting to instill into people the bartering system with that. And then when you get into even some of your perishables, I've talked about this before, dry canning is amazing. I can go and get a quart jar of Cheerios right now out of my pantry that is minimum 5 or 6 years old, and they taste no different than the day that we dry canned them.
Well, and that's a point that I wanted to emphasize. So there's short-term preparedness and there's long-term preparedness. Because you can obviously put extra stuff in a freezer. You can run out and buy cases of toilet paper, but there's an end to that. Like, you're going to run out of toilet paper at some point if they don't restock it. And if the power grid goes down, there goes all of your food in your freezer. You know, and like in my instance, I have a whole house generator, and I've got 500 gallons of propane, so I can last a little longer even if the power is completely out for a week or something. But even in my situation, that comes to an end. Eventually, you run out.
Yeah.
So you need those.
That's depending on how bad the apocalypse is. We are not anywhere. We're not even close to an apocalypse, even though we're all joking around and saying that.
Look at how close.
You know?
See, I think look at how close we actually could be, though, because we see what's going on with the stores. We see the supply. You know, Will said it. Other people in different areas of the country, I've heard, not as bad as here, but anyway, you've got lots of things that are dried up. I mean, they're coming in, but at the rate they're coming in, people are buying it all up. Now, imagine something hitting the transit and the transportation side of things, the distribution side of things, right? On top of the rush for the goods. Then you've taken the situation we're in now, and at that point, it becomes catastrophic.
Well, and I was awfully wordy with it, but where I was going is some cheap things to have. You know, if you're on a budget, rice and beans. They're dry. They're cheap. You can store them for a long time, and that's not even getting into the extreme of, okay, I'm going to get dehydrated camping food or MREs or whatever. Like, you can buy that at the grocery store, and you get it in 5-pound or 20-pound bags. It's a piece of cake.
Yeah. Also, let me ask you guys this question. This is something I think is very interesting for us to settle or figure out right now. How many years ago was it that we didn't have freaking electricity? That we didn't have highways and we didn't have tractor trailers bringing stuff in all the time? Seriously. My parents were born in those times. My parents
I'd say
were born
100, right?
Well, I mean, so, okay, it depends on what part of the world you're coming from and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
My parents were born right after World War II in the Caribbean. So it was electricity and phones and radios and things like that, but electricity was a freaking, super luxury item. Radios at one point. So, yeah, if we go back 100 years, which would probably be, our great-grandparents or something like that, this stuff didn't really exist. You didn't have toilet paper like you have toilet paper nowadays. People were using outhouses and, I guess newspapers or something to wipe your butt. Like, none of this stuff was I'm going to die if I don't have this.
I would say, like, in little mountain areas, like where I live in North Georgia, I'd say 40 years ago, people still had outhouses and didn't have running water. Like, they had running water, but not plumbing from a well. They were using what we call gravity water. It streams, comes down from the mountain, and it goes into a pipe into the house. So simple. As a matter of fact, when I bought my farmhouse here, the house that I had to tear down because of termite damage. So I've been at my house about 15 years now, and it had gravity water.
Yeah. A lot of things, I think before we get, so if we really want to get like into a super tragic scenario, we don't need electricity or air conditioning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Need? No.
Correct.
No, we don't need it. It's nice.
Now there are some people that do. And that's where the tragedy comes into play. There are people that are elderly, sick, health problems, other things, and that's just going to be the sad truth that modern conveniences is what is prolonging their life, basically.
Yeah.
True. And all of that being said, by the way, shout out, I know there's lots of people out there, we're ignoring them because we're all up in the conversation. I see Safety Harbor out there, lots of people. Shout out to everyone that's coming into the chat. Please smash the thumbs ups. I don't know. I think that I don't want to get rid of all these things.
No, I like it.
I don't want to not have this stuff, but we haven't gotten to the point with this thing. What this is there's a virus out there that is easily communicable to other people and very dangerous if we don't have a way to treat it. We're not on top of having a way to treat it, mostly because this thing kicked off in China. They tried to go super secret with it, and the rest of the world did not have an opportunity to close down borders and stuff like that. Look, anyone who knows me, I'm not a super Trump fan, but we got to give him credit for in the beginning of this thing, saying we need to close down stuff, and lots of other people were like, that's racist. You want to close down things. You want to call something this name. That's racist. Yesterday, Lola and I were looking at what was I looking at? Okay, you know, on HBO there's this documentary about the McMillions scam that went on. Did you guys hear about that? You know, McDonald's. Remember McDonald's was doing the Monopoly thing. Remember McDonald's Monopoly contest that was going on? That whole thing, someone figured out how to scam that. So anyone that won a prize above some fries or a burger was actually, so the people who won cars and houses and $2 million and all that kind of stuff, all scams, all mafia-related stuff. So there's a documentary on HBO. Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool documentary on HBO about it. But anyway, I was watching it, and around that time, they had the mad cow disease. And guess what they called it? They called it the British mad cow disease.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so all of these things that people are caught up in now is the reason why we got into this, right? At other times in the history of this planet, if we had like an inkling that something kicked off in China, sorry, travel in and out of China now shut down, right? Yeah. Other countries would go, nope, if you're in China, you need to stay there. You know, we would have done all of that, and we didn't do it. So we're here, you know, and it's gonna take some people. But I really think it's something that we're stressing that shouldn't really be stressed on a level like this. I hate to say this, people are aborting like 150,000 babies every year, and no one is trying to, knock down all the abortion clinics and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy that we're in this state. It's not fun if it's someone that you know, you care about that dies in this thing, but we're all dealing with those things. You know, I was just thinking to myself, my mom died at the end of last year, and I was thinking, man, in a way, even though this sounds morbid, I'm glad that happened when it did, because if it was happening now, she was in New York City, it would be impossible for me to go there and, spend that last time with her, right? Before she passes. And so it's like, but we're all constantly going through tragedies and things are happening. We're living a pretty good life. And on top of that, we can actually deal with a lot more than this. I think as human beings, we could be pushed down pretty much really far compared to this.
Well, in the point that I'd really like for folks watching to take, we went down a long rabbit hole of how to prepare for the apocalypse, and that really wasn't the point. The bottom line point is it's a proven fact: America was not prepared. You can see that by the panic buys. If you only panic when you don't have it, or you're afraid of it not being there, or whatever. Now, I'll be honest. I don't know why I did it, because I obviously have plenty of ammunition on hand.
But so that's the thing I want to say to you. Like, what was everyone buying that we could, like this, the point I'm trying to make here is, okay, there's this thing out there. What does that have to do with toilet paper or ammo?
Ammo, I think, is a result of pushback on government. Government started mandating this, that, and the other. Why was the Second Amendment created? To be able to defend ourselves against tyranny and the government. So the government starts pushing down and testing the waters of look how quickly the government shut this nation down. But what was the response? People go out and they start buying the heck out of ammo. That ought to be a signal back to the government, if you want to know the truth. I
also think that it wasn't the government so much on their own that shut the nation down. I think it's the media as well.
Well, certainly.
A lot of the firearm ammunition, let's be honest about this, is a lot of these cities, counties, whatever, that their law enforcement agencies have come out and said, hey, if you get robbed, we're not showing up. Hey, if you get, it's really?
Yeah, and that's continuing. It's not.
Now, but I can agree to that. But people are buying it by the thousands. I don't think there's going to be 1,000 people robbing your house.
No, but here's the thing though about this.
I'm guilty too.
Us as gun guys, I'm going to tell you this as a gun guy. I have not bought not one gun. Okay, since this thing, I have not bought one round since this thing. I haven't bought one round. You know why? Because 2013 is not that far away. It's like 7 years ago, sure.
Yeah. But
I mean, come on. I've been buying ammo this whole time. I've been buying guns this whole time. You know, all of us as gun guys, we've seen multiple times over our whatever our span is in the gun world. We've seen, like, you know, we've seen Katrina, the government, no, you can't have guns, you can't do this. So we're not new to this. I think where a lot of that's coming from is the folks who are new to this. Probably a lot of folks that a couple of weeks ago were agreeing with the left, you know, that we need to do something about the guns in America. They were agreeing with that, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh crap, and they went out. And a lot of us, it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction, like, oh, wait a second, maybe I haven't. And I'm not trying to come down on you, Will. Maybe you've been busy or whatever, and you didn't have everything. But I'm pretty sure you're set up at any point to rock and roll.
Yeah, no, I'm a different reason altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I have an addiction. I have plenty of everything, but there's no such thing as too much. And
Okay.
I will say this, I haven't overpaid for ammo.
Okay.
I just bought smart. I was like, okay, well, I could use an extra 1,000 rounds of this caliber, and I could use an extra 1,000 rounds of that caliber. And I wanted to make this point to the audience because obviously most of the audience that watch are gun enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. And they're seeing the ammo shortages out there. Ammo is out there, and you know, in the common calibers, 7.62 by 39, 223 and 5.56. You know, name your caliber.
9mm. If you
9mm.
Yeah.
It's out there, and it's out there at regular price. What I advise you to do is go to some of the YouTube gun channel Facebook pages. The Hank Strange page.
Well, maybe not Facebook, because that's why they're deleting us.
Oh, okay. Well, I follow Mr. Guns and Gear as well.
Yeah,
and he's a personal friend of mine.
Right,
but,
mine too.
But I still support his channel, and it gets me every time because I see a deal on ammo and I'm like, well, I don't really need it, and I buy it anyway.
Right.
So I'm a different story altogether. But I wanted to tell people, go to find the locations. Support Barnauls. They typically have some great deals. I found some great deals on Academy Sports lately. $5 flat shipping, and you can also go to ammoseek.com, search by caliber, and it will give an updated. I think it's updated every 15 minutes of what ammo is in stock and the price per round, so that you know you're getting a good deal. And now that I give out all my secrets, it's going to be
I don't think it's that big of a secret. Right. I don't think it's that big of a secret. But by the way,
must be to some.
Yeah. So I know Facebook, we're getting kind of smacked up on Facebook. Even when we were talking last week to Guns and Gear, he says there's certain things like I'm using Twitter for a lot of that stuff, because I don't think Twitter's coming down. We're using Minds as well. There's some other places out there that you can actually put up links related to firearms. I'm not selling anything like that.
Instagram stories. I see a lot on Instagram stories. Swipe up, the deal will be there. So, there's still some ways out there to get it through.
And that's why we're doing like everything. You could find everything from us on our .com. And there's this weird thing going on. I think Corey Williams shared this with me, and let me see if I could throw this up. So this is about the Carolina Gun Company. Wait, hold on a second. For some reason, I cannot share my phone. I got to figure out why I'm not able to share my phone. Anyway, so on Facebook, Facebook is about to delete the Carolina Gun Company, and the message here says, "Hi, your page, South Carolina Gun Company, is scheduled for permanent deletion." After March 28th, 2020, you won't be able to access the page or any of the content you added, and it goes on. I never got a warning like this, but they deleted my Facebook page, by the way.
Are you sure that what they received is legit? I've never heard of a warning. They usually just take you out.
I've never seen that either. So, I mean, I'm getting someone sending this to me right now. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, without a doubt. Lola sent me a message here. I think she was talking to the YouTube people, because when we go live now on YouTube, it's for whatever reason people aren't being notified, even if they rang that bell. So whoever she was talking to, so it says, the guy says, I would like to kindly inform you that our automated systems are meant to flag videos and or streams they think are violative until human reviewers can take a look. With fewer people to review due to COVID-19, we're being extra cautious with flagged content. It may not show up on search, on the homepage, or in recommendations before it's reviewed. So that's basically what's happening to us. We are they're like admitting that because they don't have enough people there. So what was happening with me before, and YouTube's told me this, that they're specifically watching me. So I'm flagged content, and the reason why it's not showing up right now is because there's no one there. So they're not going to let it show up until someone's able to come through and go, okay, this was fine, and then let it go. So maybe other people aren't in that, which is awesome for you. I hope this particular thing does not wind up happening to you. But us, because they watch us, I guess because we do this often, that's why we're in this situation. So,
well, the thing I've never understood, it's selective censorship. Mm-hmm. They're definitely targeting liberal valued tactics. So it's just guns, because don't give me that, it's violent content or, it's this or that. I see the other stuff that gets through my feed all the time. Yeah. And
all we do here is talk. We used to be able to show guns. We cannot even show guns when we're live now. So I don't know. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Because I brought a cool one. So
no, you can't. We can't show any guns.
No problem.
No, we can't show guns while we're live, and that's been going on since when, Clover? Beginning of the year, right? Since January, or was it the end of January? Something like that.
December 15th, I think, or mid-December.
Yeah. So why would we be in a flag thing if all we're doing is talking?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
That's just the situation that we're dealing with.
Varying factors from audience participation to what the algorithm thinks because certain words have said so many times to any number of things. Absolutely, I'm not on either side of the fence really when it comes to what YouTube does. YouTube, I think, at the end of the day, does what's in their best interest monetarily more than anything. And I do know genres across the board, niches across the board that are, you get on, do a search, you'll find it. I mean, it's not hard to find. To do, YouTube's screwing us over or something, and look at the various niches of people saying exactly what they're saying.
I think it's I don't think it's just because we're gun guys. The argument that they're just doing it because we're gun guys it's null right there if you take that into consideration. So what's the bigger issue? And I mean that's what we've got to look at is what's the bigger issue. As far as the live thing, here's what didn't make any sense to me. I had 3 conversations with YouTube over the over various things, but it's all started with the whole live thing, wanting to understand that. And what I couldn't make them understand is I get their point. I get what they told me was that they had the couple that had the 50 Desert Eagle that was going to stop it with a book or whatever. They've got these mass murders and things that are going on that they live stream, and they don't want any of that. They want to be able to curtail and have an algorithm and things in place to shut that down. And what I could make them understand was that those of us, the people that are doing that, do not have a firearm related YouTube channel. Right.
We're not the people that are doing that. We handle these things every single day, multiple times a day, safely. We talk about safety. We preach safety. All of this stuff. We're not the people that are at risk for doing this.
I don't think they care about that.
Remember
What they told me was that they get it, but right now there's no way for algorithms and image recognition and stuff to discern. Okay. So then my next question to them, which was a little bit optimistic, was okay, what as technology improves and we're going through fixing to start having the self-certification part of the YouTube Creator Studio where we self-certify our content and all this other kind of stuff. And if we're not truthful with that, they're going to ding you for it. So when that becomes available to people that are creators, you better not lie on it. But once that's available and image recognition and all this stuff gets a little better, my direct question to them was, do you foresee a future where live streaming things like that will be possible again? And my thought process behind this was those that live stream competitions and things like that. I said, you don't realize there's a huge swath, at least within our niche, that live stream their competitions and stuff, and you're completely shutting all that down. And that's educational, and it's awareness, and it's promoting sports. I said, for goodness sakes, so you can't even live stream the Olympics now, apparently, right? And it clicked when I told them that, and they said, yeah, as things get better, we'll be readdressing this, and hopefully be able to figure out a balance between, we want to protect our rear ends and we want to allow as much freedom on the platform as possible.
I don't have a direct dog in the fight. I don't have a YouTube channel, but being a firearms enthusiast, it's a great educational tool for me. I own a number of firearms, and so many that occasionally I forget how to take one apart. And I have to go back and I find a YouTube video and refresh. Oh, all I had to do was push this button and the bolt would slide out, or whatever the case may be. But I'm afraid that it's just like let's take the Democratic Party. Originally they wanted common sense gun laws. They wanted to start a conversation, and that's gone all the way. It's migrated to where the gloves are off and they say, hey, we're coming for your guns. All the smoke and mirrors is gone, and I'm afraid that YouTube is going to have a continuous progression, as are all social media, Facebook and Instagram, and there's just going down the list. I'm afraid it's going to be a progression, and they're hiding behind the cloak of the inability to filter it, but I'm afraid they want them to go away.
Yeah, I think that I would probably side more with what Will's saying on this. Although I understand exactly what you're saying, Clover. I don't think technology is going to make this any better so far as YouTube. I think ultimately here, it's not just us, for sure. It's not just us as gun guys. There's lots of other people. But for the most part, you can also look right now on YouTube and see lots of questionable things being played on YouTube with advertising. So I think that there's a certain camp of people that they're 100% okay with these people being on there, and they're not going to put any of those same restrictions on those folks who are in that camp. And us, they're going to do it because they have an easy excuse of, oh, we don't really have the technology, we have to do this. I think over time, as the technology gets better, it's going to get worse for us. I don't want to not be on YouTube, but I would like to see an alternative pop up where I could go live and do this, because I think, this is a good thing. Other than this, I would just have you guys come in here through Skype and we would talk, but I think there's an element of the folks out there being able to see and communicate with us and ask us questions and the give and take that's really important, and I think probably we need to find that off of YouTube and then use YouTube and all these other platforms for whatever we can, but build our niche somewhere else.
Well, don't those exist?
No.
That's exactly what I was fixing to say. So in order to exist, they have to be tried. Mm-hmm. And then in order to exist, once they're tried, they have to get support. And I'm talking to everybody out there. Hank, how many's watching. I'm looking in straight in the face of every one of you people. If you're not over and sub to me and Hank and whoever else on Gunstreamer and promoting that platform, you're just as much a part of the problem as you are anything else. I built a platform, paid for it out of my own pocket, 5 years ago now, when Facebook come down with their thing and they said, okay, all the gun groups are gone, no selling, no eluding to selling on Facebook, this, that, and the other. A month before that policy went into play, I had a platform in place. 3 years later, I had to shut it down. Why? I got no support. And without support, without people on the platform, without people viewing, without people seeing ads to be able to sell advertising and all of that stuff, you can't do anything. Gunstreamers facing the same thing. If people are not going to go over there and use the platform, then they need to shut up their griping. And I put my money where my mouth is, just so you know. And I don't know if I talked to you about this, Hank, or not, but at SHOT Show, I promised Austin and the folks with Gunstreamer that I would do Gunstreamer only content. I would start doing it. I have 3 episodes up. The only place you can find those is Gunstreamer. So I've put my time where my mouth is anyway, not necessarily my money. And I encourage other creators to maybe do the same.
Yeah, your time is money. That's valid.
Well, and I think that's one of the problems. So right now I can think of 3 main platforms. You got Full30, Gunstreamer, and YouTube. The problem is YouTube, although they're demonetizing these guys that have 200,000 to 2 million subs, it may not be they're getting revenue from YouTube, but they're gaining sponsorships. And I understand, but that reality is what it is. And a lot of these guys are putting videos on the other platforms, but it's hard to make the jump.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you ever get
here's the thing.
Until YouTube shuts down, I guess.
Yeah, the only full-fledged platform we have right now is YouTube. Okay, there is Gunstreamer, and the Gunstreamer guys are making a very valiant attempt at this. The problem is that they cannot get the rest of the industry and the rest of us on board, So that's the big thing I think going on with Gunstreamer. We all need to get on board there. I think that goes back to the whole theme of what we're talking about here. Most people, gun guys, gun industry, gun manufacturers, whatever, we all wait until the apocalypse before we do shit about this kind of stuff. So no one's getting on board with Gunstreamer right now. The way that I see it, I'm thinking Clover would agree with me on this. When it comes to Full30, I hate to say this to you, but Full30 is basically a ghost, okay, or a zombie. That's not actually a full functioning platform, for my knowledge, okay?
I get really good view ratio and everything else.
It's there, but there's no people behind it.
Well, here's the difference between
I don't know. I mean, you got some of the bigger gun tubers. You got Military Arms channel.
No, for Max
viewers.
So first of all, Max sold out his interest. Whatever ownership he had in Full30, he sold that, and he announced that to people, including here and on the podcast. He spoke about that. He is not an owner. He may be putting up videos there. I don't know, and I know that like IV and other folks put up videos, including me sometimes. But but really and truly, there's no one over at Full30 that's talking to anyone. There's probably people there. There's someone who owns Full30. There's someone behind it. They're not talking to anyone. They're not telling anyone what's going on. I definitely don't have a clue of what's going on over there. Yeah. And I probably know a little bit more about Full30 than most other people out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, you need a support system to build it.
Full30 has swapped hands since Mac kind of has stepped down from being the face of it, let's say. I think Full30's actually sold more than once since then.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff spinning around that. The problem is
I had contacts there,
right.
And you're right. I don't anymore. I mean, I've got contacts on the forum side that supposedly no contacts on the platform side, which the forum and the platform is 2 different things. But here's the thing that what I wanted to say before we got off topic was that Full30, the platform, and Full30, the forum, work in conjunction. If you're a creator that actually engages with your audience and enjoys that community aspect of things. Now, if you got millions of subs and you ain't got time for that whatever, and you just make content and throw it up, hey, great, that's fine. I don't operate like that. I love that aspect of it, and so that's where, just kind of where Will was talking about earlier, that's the difference between, and not in a bad way, but that's the difference between Full30 and Gunstreamer. I think Gunstreamer is the more robust platform for video hosting, but I think Full30 offers that community sense with the forum side of things.
So here's the thing, because I'm trying to avoid, because there's if people really, if we get into this, there's gonna be people that get mad. I think that maybe someone who owns Full30, and that person may even have money, they don't actually have any kind of desire or they're not putting any effort into doing anything with Full 30. The guys at Gunstreamer, money-wise, I think they are right now, like you said, Clover, burning through whatever money they have to keep Gunstreamer going, hoping that they survive up until the apocalypse that we're all freaking waiting for before we do something here, and then that comes back to them. Statistically, that's not actually going to happen. They're going to burn through that money, and these things aren't coming together. So if you've got someone over here that maybe has money on the Full 30 side, but they put it into Full 30 because they think that has a name and there's something going on there, although Full 30 never got any kind of apps, there's a whole bunch of things that they were never able to do, and Gunstreamer's doing those things. Somehow we have to come together, put the money, put the people, the industry, whatever it is behind it, the big gun corporations that exist here, and get something going. Because if this burns down and we hit apocalypse and we're not ready, most people, big and small, are going away. Now, are the big guys like my friends at Iraq Veteran or Hickok 45 or any of those guys, Demo Rancher, any of those guys who are big gun-related YouTubers going to go away? No, they're not, because they are big enough to survive this. Okay, I'm not saying they don't care. I'm just trying to tell you the reality is they're big enough to survive it. They have a big enough following and all of that kind of stuff. But it's just like we're talking about medicine. Those of us who are smaller, we're the people coming up behind them. If we get deleted in the midst of all of this, you'll never have alternatives to those guys. You only have those guys, and if they decide they don't want to do this anymore, then you got nothing. Right?
Now,
but we're not doing anything about that, and we're just all sitting here on the fence, staring at each other, and no one is doing anything.
To your point of Full 30 and the apps, okay? My little platform that I did, which had a similar feel to Facebook, right? To try to draw the gun people off of Facebook over there to do their private transactions, whatever it might be. I had apps, Android and Apple, with that out of my own pocket. Apps are not that difficult to do, and I'm not taking anything away from Gunstreamer and saying that they didn't spend a bunch of money with development or whatever. Obviously, I have an IT background, and that helps. But it does speak to your point about Full 30 and why haven't they? They've been around so long. Why haven't they jumped into the app market? They've got to see that mobile traffic's where it's at.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why, man. In this industry that we're in, as well as a lot of industries, there's a lot of freaking fake it till you make it bullshit going on in the world. And most people just don't realize that. Okay, unless you get in on the inside, people don't realize that. But if you're on the inside, like Will, you know about cattle, raising cattle, etc. If you come across some dude that's just playing cowboy, it's not going to take you long to figure out this person's full of shit, right?
Oh, we got farms that distribute to restaurant in Atlanta that don't exist. They operate out of a warehouse.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that going on in the gun world.
Sad.
There's a lot of that going on in the gun world, and there's a lot of that going on in people who supposedly are platforms. So all of this is what's leading to it. There's not actually, like, we're not very organized in the gun community. We're not very organized because we're independent, typically alpha male type people. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everyone wants to lead. Nobody wants to follow. No one wants to be told
and
anything.
Most of us work and don't have time to protest and all the other stuff that the other side does.
So we are not organizing, and we're not building anything, and we are not prepared. Like, we're talking, we got all the guns, we got all the ammo, we got training, all of that kind of stuff. And something that's very important here, real world, for the hearts and minds of what we're going to be fighting for, we don't have any access to that. And that's why, like, I feel like YouTube and these other social medias, they are never backing off of this. This is their way to do what the politicians can't do on their side, right? Yep. They know the politicians on their side are not effective enough fighting against the Second Amendment, and so for us, we're fighting for it, and we're not even trying to have the right tools to win that fight.
Well, it's the media in general. The media in general is fighting this fight, and it just plays over into social media. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Safety Harbor, I'll just get his thing in here from Walter. He says, if YouTube turns off the money, it won't matter how many followers you have. Most of those followers don't buy anything or watch from some gunless country. That's from Walter.
Well,
yeah.
depends on, bigger channels, there may be a good percentage. I don't have a very big percentage from another country.
Yeah. But this is just so weird and crazy to me that we don't actually in any way try to organize this. And we could. Like, I've spent a lot of time trying to talk to people and do this, and what I've come to find, it's a total waste of time. A lot of this is like what happened with the NRA, in my opinion. All of us abdicated our responsibility to fight for the Second Amendment to the NRA. We sent them money. We said, "Oh, NRA is awesome," and we did all that stuff. And then we got caught out there, right, with our peepees in the meat grinder, when it actually came time for them to do something. And by the time we found out about it, oh, these guys are living the high life. They're flying around in jets, buying suits, doing all kinds of craziness, and not fighting for the Second Amendment. And this is the same thing happening here when it comes to this type of thing that we're doing, where you're in Georgia, you're in Texas, I'm in Florida, the folks out there are all over the country, and this is actually going to go away because we're not going to really do anything about it.
Yeah. What about Gun Owners of America? Because
they don't have the resources to do this.
Before you mentioned the issue with the NRA, that was my first thought, was trying to get an organized group that already exists to lobby on the behalf. And I guess, unfortunately, the NRA is the only one with the power to do that. They just weren't successful in supporting.
To lobby on the behalf of what? Of the Second Amendment or for the gun guys?
Well, both.
Okay.
Because those groups are already out there lobbying on the Second Amendment. I'm talking about the YouTube and social media, and all those are private organizations, so it's not really a governmental lobby that needs to happen, but there needs to be some kind of voice and a guerrilla pushing back against a guerrilla. Somebody's got to fight for the voice of the channels.
So, and you know who that needs to be? That needs to be everybody. That needs to be me. That needs to be the makeup channel. That needs to be the car guy. That needs to be the dude doing the cooking show. It needs to be everybody that's getting screwed over. There needs to be almost like a creators union, quite honestly.
How do you make it
put together?
Because we can always identify the problems to anything, but finding the solution is the challenge.
So here's the problem. It's like the record industry, right? It's like the music industry. When the internet came along, the music industry tried to kill the internet, right? When they couldn't kill the internet, they decided to own the internet.
Co-opted.
That's what we're dealing with right now. The music industry still exists. They just own the internet for music, and that's what we're going through. That's what YouTube wants to be. YouTube wants to deal with those guys and not us, right? Sure. This is what we're dealing with here. And if you go back here, I started doing this in 2013, right? When YouTubers started getting big and all that kind of stuff. If you go back, that's when the NRA started doing NRA TV and dropping $25 million or whatever they were dropping into it every year. What came out of that? They decided to go that route, and that's all burned down now. That's all money just burnt. And that's everybody's money, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's all the gun guys' money. That $25 million a year for however many years they did that burnt, because they decided they were going to have their own thing and control the message and control everyone that was on there and what those people said and what they did and what they looked like and all that kind of stuff. And so at the end here, we've got nothing. And if we would have taken that money and put it into building up platforms and supporting things, some things would have failed, some things would have gotten better. All of that would have happened the natural process.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of resources.
We burned that. That was our money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we burned through it. It's gone. It's gone. And the best thing that came out of it, I think, okay, we've got some people out there that are pretty big and have a voice like Julian Noir and some other folks. And that's good. I'm not complaining about that. But the rest of it was all nonsense. Okay? And it's pretty much gone and done. And now we need hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's a fraction of what it takes to do what we're actually really talking about. We need hundreds of millions of dollars from somewhere in order to keep this thing going, where the people, like, if we're all responsible for this, we have to be able to communicate with each other. Some of us are going to be loudmouths like us guys right here. And some people will be listening and going, hey, I like this guy. I'm going to share his message, and they'll get it out to the other people and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to lose this ecosystem that we have. And the other side knows this. This is the thing to me that is really important for people to understand. The other side knows the power of this, and they are taking it away from people. I've just seen that so much. I had Arms List on Instagram and IG. They still exist there because the owner is a lawyer and he's fought all this stuff all the way up to the Supreme Court, right? So they don't want to delete him straight out. So you know what they do? They just shadow ban him. If you try to go on Facebook and do @ArmsList or send a message or something like that with an Arms List link, not going to happen. If you try to do that on Instagram, not going to happen. Well,
I've noticed
what's
that
the point
with
of being
YouTube.
there?
So I've got, a very small Facebook, even for Bear Creek Cattle Company at the moment. I think I've got about 9,000 or something people on there. But, any link, and it could be a big gun tuber, maybe it's a video that we were a participant of or something I liked, and I try and share it. I get no people see it.
That's
Zero.
happening to everyone. I mean, I'm talking to big
it's
companies. I'm talking to big companies that have hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook, and they say, you know what, we put up a post. If we're lucky, we get 1,000 views.
Yeah.
They've got hundreds of thousands, in some case millions of followers. So what is the point of those things? I'm not saying that we shouldn't be on those things. Practically, I believe, hey, I'm going to try to be on every one that I could possibly be on. YouTube, for all this time I've built up my Facebook page. I think it was 17,000 followers. They deleted it. I started another one. I'm at 200, right? Yeah. So I'm back to 0 after doing all of that, and I'm still there doing it. I want to stay on those things. So that's the big pool picture, right? That everyone's saying that this can't just be a gun thing, the big pool picture. But we need our own ecosystem where we could easily get up on there, talk about guns, throw up links, do whatever we want to, say whatever we want to within reason if we're not hurting someone or breaking the law, and be able to communicate and get it in our own ecosystem. And then whatever they allow us to put up there, we put that up on Facebook and all the other places. But it's not, I've been saying that until I'm blue in the face, which is, it's kind of difficult with my face. And no one's listening. No one's listening to that. No one's listening to that thing. So what I'm trying to do is just work on my own freaking .com. And it's too bad. It's too bad because we're actually gonna lose that. John Crump is saying that there's a billion. He says you have a billionaire that watches your show. I don't know. Yeah, if that's true, dude, whoever that billionaire is needs to piss or get off the pot right now. And Crump himself says Hank pissed off someone at Facebook, and that's the reality. If you noticed, there's a lot of people that they deleted their page and they gave it back to them. We were able to get their pages back. They won't give me my page back. So there's something over there that they're like, yeah, this guy, we're not giving it back to him. So and it's fine, right? Because it's not just me. That's happened to lots of different people in lots of different places. It won't be the end. Eventually, they're gonna just slow cut us, and we're all gonna wake up one day and go, yeah, it's funny. We used to be able to go on social media.
Well, and it happens. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram, but Bad Element Company, I bought some. Man, the dude creates some awesome custom AK mags. So that's a free plug for the guy because he's rebuilding his Instagram.
Bad Element.
Bad Element Co.
Okay.
He had 25,000 or something followers, and he's a good dude. He's a veteran. Like a blink, man. He was gone. They took them all, and now he's got there again just a few hundred.
You know what was the big travesty? We all stood by. That happened to Alex Jones. No one. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but we're all over it now. So, and what I'm saying to you, I know not everyone likes Alex Jones, but it's the principles
of
the matter. Alex
Exactly.
Jones got across the board deplatformed, and we all let it go.
That's exactly what I said. That you got to have everybody from every niche, and here's the problem with that is it's a bigger picture issue that people have got to be able to put everything aside, everything into little boxes and store it away except for freedom of the platform. And regardless of what you think politically or anything else, socially or anything else, hey, we're here. Everybody should be able to get on these platforms and do what they want to do. As long as it's legal and above board, they should be able to get on these platforms and do what they want to do. And everybody should, it's going to require everybody coming together in that capacity. And people have their biases and their hatreds and their personal whatever opinions on this, that, and the other. And I mean, look at even we talk about divisions in the firearm community. Look at divisions in the creator space. There's even more when you start adding in all of these other niches, right? And it's so how do we rise above or overcome those divisions for a common good? I don't know the answer to that.
Well, and remember. So the Second Amendment is a constitutional right. I'm not saying anything that everybody in the gun industry hasn't already said. But, I'm a beef producer. I'm also on national television. It could be perceived as risky to put pictures of firearms or talk about guns or announce that I'm going to be on a gun podcast. I don't foresee it that way. I don't think, people make firearms political. Firearms are not political.
Shouldn't be.
And that Second Amendment right applies to everybody of every race, gender, the entire country. Whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican, you have the exact same right.
Yeah, the Constitution should never be
constitutional rights.
Right, the Constitution. Exactly, the Constitution should never be up for political debate.
Shouldn't.
Right?
Shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be a political. We could politically debate a bunch of other stuff if we want to, but nothing within the Constitution is supposed to be up for political debate. Yet here we are.
Yeah. Well, you don't hear anything about the 19th Amendment. That was the amendment that allowed ladies to vote. Nobody's trying to take that right away. And I would wholeheartedly be against any revision to that, because I do believe that empowerment of women is continuing to be the future. But that's just a point. I'm taking an extreme analogy to say there's a reason that it was the First Amendment and then the Second Amendment, and so forth, and so it wasn't the 22nd Amendment. It's the Second Amendment.
Well, I don't have a problem. I don't like the 17th, for example. I think that needs to go bye-bye. I'm all for signing a petition. If somebody's got it, I'm all on board with doing that.
Just refresh our memories on what the 17th is.
Popular election of senators.
Okay.
So there's nothing inherently wrong with, I don't agree with this thing in the Constitution and it needs to go bye-bye. The problem is there is a structure and rules by which you deal with that. And it's not by circumvention via private companies. It's not by circumvention through the court system or legislative process or executive regulation. It's by changing the Constitution.
Gotcha. Well,
okay.
So I put up a post that would be coming together tonight, and my post specifically said we're going to talk about firearms and shenanigans, and we're going to have some fun. And we spent the majority of tonight talking about the apocalypse and some negative. I mean, it is
the Constitution.
What it is.
Yeah. We can't control where we talk. I mean, this is one of the things I think that we can have all the plans that we want to. What happens, especially in a format like this, and I think it's the reason why it's so powerful, right, and why we shouldn't let it go, is that we are free forming our conversation here.
Sure.
And we're talking about somewhere in the back of our minds, whatever is really pressing on our minds is what we're talking about. And we should be able to do that, and we should all be able to say what we think and argue with each other and have these conversations and help other people have those conversations at home in their minds and think about it, let it get into their brains and percolate in there. And this is what people are trying to. It's a dangerous thing, man. It's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
People have been trying to stop that from the beginning,
Well, I've got and this may be something that doesn't take us long off topic.
Is this a shenanigans or a gun?
No, it's a gun, man, and a little bit of shenanigans.
As long as you don't show it, it's all good. If you have pictures on your IG, I'll go to your IG and throw up the pictures.
No. Okay. Actually, I was going to pose a question to you guys, and if you don't have anything specifically to share or whatever, I've got something in mind, so you can circle back to me. But
okay,
all right, so we always hit SHOT Show around the middle of January. Everybody gets all excited. They always say, "Oh, this is coming," third quarter 2020, blah blah blah, and it takes forever to get the products actually out to market. Are there any new products or firearms that you're excited about that are getting close to hitting production dates?
I think so. I think
there's
a few.
Got any ones you want to share? I've got some.
I'll let Clover go first, since
the roller upper from Mean Arms, that should be hitting here pretty soon. That's going to be kind of cool. Old school, sort of like HK at a AR9 platform, pretty neat. And then I just heard about the Winchester Wildcats, the new little 22 semi-auto from them.
Ooh, I haven't heard about that one. That sounds awesome. Yeah,
the 22. There's a lot. I don't know. I'm interested to see, because there's a lot of cheap, sub $200 semi-automatic 22s that really aren't that great. Obviously, 1022 is the king, right? And then you got things like the Thompson R55, and you got some really nice semi-auto 22s, and you get up into the custom full courts and stuff like that. But it looks like the Wildcat may be a pretty good rival, if not maybe even a little better than the Ruger. So looking forward to that.
Oh, that's big talk.
They're in production. Well, popularity-wise and form and function-wise are two totally separate things. I don't think it'll ever overtake it in popularity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sheer numbers, it's going to take a while just to overcome the sheer numbers of Ruger 1022s out there. I don't even know how many I have. Probably like 4 or 5 or 6.
Sure. How many did you lose in your boating accident?
All of them.
Exactly.
So on my part, first of all, PSA has several things that are coming out, and they're going to happen. And from what I'm hearing, by the end of the year, we'll be seeing those things. So there's the Jekyll, that they have coming out.
Describe them as you go, because I stay up to date on pretty much everything, but just like the Winchester, I wasn't aware of it. So there may be
the
other
easiest
people.
way to describe the Jekyll, it's kind of like the SIG, MPX, MCX type of thing, or the BRN 180 that Barnauls has out. In terms of the gas system in there, so you don't, it's not like your typical AR, so you can put a retractable stock and things like that on it. Except it's going to be a lot more affordable than those. So the BRN from like Barnauls is putting out is pretty cool. Walther had one of those. We've done some videos on it. It's kind of on the expensive end. The SIG, MPX, MCX, those are definitely on the expensive end. I believe that the Jekyll's coming out at like the price that you would get a nice AR from PSA. So I'm talking about like $750, $800. That's not bad. They're coming out with their MP5 clone.
They really have. I've noticed a big surge in product development from PSA over the last couple of years. That when they introduced all the American AKs with cold hammer forged barrels, and just the quality seems like, so they offer a lineup. And they've got, their Freedom line, and, you can literally, if you're watching the sales, you can put together an AR for like $350. The whole thing out the door. But, it's not going to have a chrome line or melanited barrel or, whatever. But then they continue to step up, and if you're willing to pay, they've got some really quality stuff, some that are running FN, cold hammer forged barrels for ARs, and it seems like they've got some really neat products coming out, huh?
Yeah, I think that the gun world is PSA's to conquer, and they're actually putting serious money behind it. It's not just talk, from what I can see. Like I was talking before about people that are just talking things. if you look at their manufacturing facilities that they've gathered up, if you could put it that way, they have some serious manufacturing capabilities. They're getting serious talent on board. You know, yeah, they're not messing around. So, and they have this, like, I guess the driving idea that they have is to offer these things, but to offer it at a price that everyone could get into. I know they keep telling me that about the AR. They want to bring the AR price down so low that everyone in America has an AR. Right?
Well, I mean, pretty much they have. You know, when they offer the intro line, and it's $350, man, that's the price of an M&P Shield, or, you know, just a everyday carry gun. And, you know, anybody, and, you know, there's people out there, oh, well, that $350 is a lot of money. Anybody can afford it if you save your money for it. You know, it's got to be a planned purchase. Put $10 aside, man. And,
everything's a lot of money for everyone. There's so many scales of, like, there's a weird thing that goes on in the gun community. So if all you can afford is a High Point or some other entry level handgun like that, that's maybe $200-300, there's going to be the guy who has the Glock that looks down on you. And the Glock is like, what, $500-600, maybe $700 category. And if you have the Glock, there's going to be some guy that has SIGs or something like that looks down on you. And if you have that, there's going to be some guy that has like $3,000, you know, 1911s is going to look down on you. And if you have that, there's some guy who has $20,000 1911s that's going to say you're all peasants.
Then you've got guys like me that doesn't care one way or the other. I love them all. So.
Yeah, I don't think there should be pours.
Yeah,
you know,
and if it throws out that bullet fast enough, it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's still taking you out.
The only wish, you know, and of course, you know, who am I? I'm just one guy with an opinion, but I'm talking about close friends and, you know, people that are budgeting for firearms. Man, I just like to get a hold of them and get like 5 minutes of advice to them before they make the purchase. So if they've got $300, okay, let's see what $300 can buy. Don't run out and just buy this gun because it looks cool or you heard about it. Let's look at quality, because a lot of times you can catch sales and stuff. You know, just we were talking about the super couponing and stuff. Bro, that's how I get all of my gun stuff. Like, I'll buy a part here and a part there, and like I do it all around the year, and before long I'm like, oh, I got 2 ARs I can put together. You know what I mean?
But you're in the game. I think a lot of people getting those ARs are the people who are panic buying. Yeah. I mean, if you're panic buying right now toilet paper, do you care how many ply it is? You know, you're not even thinking about that.
No, we're already rationing.
You're not thinking about the absorbency.
One sheet. You get one sheet. Here's for the morning, here's for the evening.
But, you know, but if you're out there buying it on a regular basis, you're kind of now like a toilet paper snob, right? You know, because you're getting the good stuff.
I'm gonna throw you a curveball.
Okay.
So, this goes in for the, you know, that advice. So it always goes back to budget, and typically an AK runs a little more expensive than the very low entry AR.
Nowadays.
Yes, it used to be flip-flop. Okay, but nowadays. So you're looking at $350 on sale or whatever, or let's say, you know, quality M&P 15. That's a decent quality, you know, for $500, or an Aero Precision, you know, around the same ballpark. But for me, and I shoot ARs probably more than any other platform year round, and I've got tricked out ARs with, you know, EOTechs, light, suppressors, you know, the whole, you know, all the stuff that we do in the gun industry. But your average Joe, they're either going to need to buy like an M4 style that already has iron sights and a flip-up back sight, and like they got to have something that's ready to go at that price point. But the curve I would throw is, for me, if somebody can only afford one and they're not going to have a suppressor, so they're not worried about the quietest platform, for me, it's going to be the AK. Because one, you can stock hunting ammo in the same grain. Now, I'm not saying a 223 or 5.56 won't kill a deer. You're running 77 grain Hornady tap ammo or something, but it's not the best choice for taking down deer. I shoot 300 blackout. I've killed 2 deer in 2 years with a 300 blackout using a 110 grain Barnes. That didn't run far, but I suppress it. You know, there's a lot of things around why I use that.
Okay.
But simplicity. AK comes with iron sights, out of the box. The ammo is cheap. You can bulk ammo buy, and it's a grain and caliber that you can also use not only to defend yourself but to hunt with. You can buy 1 or 2 boxes of soft point expandable ammo, and there you go. You got a deer rifle. So that's just a little curveball.
What do you think about that, Clover? I'm going to let you jump in on this one. Let's see where you're at.
I agree with that. I mean, you could probably go a little cheaper and pick up a used SKS.
Yep, and I thought about that before I made the statement. The only difference to me in the AK and the SKS is ease of maintenance. So SKS is not hard to take apart and do all that, but I just think the AK is so simple. I can teach somebody how to take it apart, clean it, and put it back together in a matter of like 5 minutes.
Okay,
you know,
I don't. How is the AR more complicated than the AK? I don't.
Then the AR.
I don't think the AR is. I don't find it more complicated.
I think it is slightly.
I mean,
because
it takes a little. So let's just go like dust cover on the AK, right? That's easy. You could just pop it off.
Well, actually, I think that's the hardest part. Really? Yeah, it's easy to get the dust cover off. But
it's not so easy to slap it back on.
Not so easy to get it on. Like, that takes a little bit of
AR. You push those pins out. Open that bad boy up. It's pretty easy. So, like, what's the easier part about the AK? Just to like take the opposite side of you two. Okay. What's the easier part about the AK over the AR?
Well, for the biggest part, the pieces are larger. One, you're dealing with a piston system versus direct gas impingement, and I know that's a whole nother story. But I do believe there's a little less. There's more loose tolerances, I would say, with the AK. So there's less.
Is the piston easier to maintain, install than it is to deal with gas impingement in the AR?
I think so, because when you look at the bolt carrier group, you got the bolt carrier group, the bolt, the cam pin, the firing pin, retaining pin, and remembering how all of those pieces go back together. And I'm talking about a new guy.
Don't mess with them.
I've never. Well, you can't say that, because somebody that's really going to be in an apocalyptic situation is going to have to know how to maintain that. So you can shoot it until it quits, but eventually it's going to quit. An AK can quit. Yeah. So and we're splitting hairs here, and I know we're playing the devil's advocate for.
Walter says we need to do a video showing the number of parts AR to AK. Walter, since you're the resident expert here, which one has the most parts, AK or AR? Just let us know right now. But yes, that is a point. You can. I think ARs are pretty easy, but yes, if you start messing it up, if you start messing around with things, it's probably easier to put an AK back together.
That was only one of my sales points. That ease of maintenance and parts was only one.
Well, okay, AKs. I'm going to tell you something. I've done some testing on this. You can mess up an AK. The idea that people think you can't mess up an AK is not actually true.
Sure, I understand, but there again, if you're going to use the rifle for more than one purpose. The caliber choice, you're running a 123 grain bullet that's more capable of medium-sized large game than, to me, a 22 caliber is. And I know that's going to upset a lot of people, because there's 20 people out there saying, well, I killed a deer this year with a 5.56. I'm not saying it's not possible. Pretty much anything that can take down a human can take down a deer. But if given the choice, even on the AR platform, what do I use? I use 300 Blackout, because it's a 30 caliber round, and of course it's quieter.
Yeah, go ahead, Clover.
Oswald says, and probably the most prolific caliber, second only to 9mm worldwide.
7.62.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. That is true. That is true. Okay.
And we never got to my fun guns.
But let me ask you this. Yeah. Is there in America, not about the world, because if an apocalypse happens, you got to walk off the North American continent here to get to the rest of the world. In America, is there more 7.62 than 223 or 5.56?
No, I don't think so. I think ARs.
Okay, well then that's not a good. That's a
negative.
That's a negative.
It is.
There's a lot. There's a lot
of AKs and a lot of 7.62 ammo.
There's a lot. I mean, look at all the surplus. Look how long it's been around. Look for how many years now.
Yeah, but think about
have had.
Yeah, but I'm talking about if we have the apocalypse, it's gonna be easier to go into an abandoned gun store than to go into some dude's house that has an AK to get his 7.62.
we
You're
learned
gonna
this
find
last
it
week.
in
There ain't gonna be no
a
ammo in the gun store.
in a post-apocalyptic situation. If you're not willing to pillage, plunder, and steal, then you're probably not going to get anything.
Screwed anyway.
I can tell you.
Yeah. By the way, Walter says there's more parts in the AR. So yeah, that's true.
It's smaller.
Yep, all you've got,
Smaller,
like
yeah,
when you're field stripping an AK, you got the dust cover. You pull the bolt carrier group out that has the piston attached to it. You take the bolt out. I mean, there's really not, and there again, me as a gun guy, I don't have any problems with the AR. I shoot ARs more than I do AKs. But I was just thinking for, a guy that's starting out, there's so much that you can do to trick an AR, but out of the box. And I even thought of this for myself. And I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but I did think worst case scenario. If this thing starts downsliding, how many guns do I have and how much ammo do I have today? That's not I need an optic, not that I need a bolt carrier for, not that I need more ammo for. Like today, what could I hit the ground running with? How many people could I arm, and how much ammunition I have? You know what? And the AKs were in that lineup.
So
because they're right out of the box, bro.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this, right? To argue the point on the AR side, it's gonna be way easier for your women and children to run an AR than an AK.
I have to disagree with you again.
It's going to be softer shooting. It's going to be softer shooting.
Just a hair.
It's going to be lighter weight. It's going to be a lighter weight. Right? It's going to be lighter, softer shooting.
But you're splitting
quieter. I'm just saying, though. It's like,
my
little kid
shoots an AK.
I don't doubt that.
My 9-year-old girl.
I don't doubt that, but she's your kid.
Yeah.
She's your kid, right?
But she's not a super girl.
No, I'm not saying that.
She's average Joe girl. So, and think of all what are the Kurdish, I probably can't even pronounce, the Kurdish women's armies. What are they armed with? AKs.
Yeah, well, that's because they don't have any choice. If they had a choice, they probably more of them would be rocking ARs, I think.
Now, okay, so we played the devil's advocate back and forth. What is my home defense firearm? It's a suppressed 9-inch SBR 300 Blackout. Why? Because anybody can shoot it. So I have to say, you're kind of playing into the answer.
Mine is an integrally suppressed 300 Blackout. What's yours, Clover?
Whatever is handy and available, for anything from a shotgun to
what side of the bed you're on?
Yeah.
I'm so OCD though. I have to everything has its place, and I have to have this plan in my head, and it may not work out that way because I'm ex-law enforcement and I know bad things happen quick.
Yeah.
But I have everything in certain spots.
Yeah. Walter has this. Walter's probably mad he's missing out on this argument right now because he'll be having a lot of fun telling me off. So I'm just gonna get this in. He says once you bend or crack the AR upper or lower, it's trash. He says I could fix a bent AK receiver with very simple tools, weld it with some simple cheap welder. That's what Walter says right there.
Love you, man.
Yeah. So far I haven't bent or cracked any friggin' AR uppers, but okay.
On that point though, I do have to worry. So I've got a transferable M16 that I finally should get out of jail in June, and I had all these great plans for it, and pistol caliber carbines are becoming big right now. So I was going to actually the one I bought is a Department of Energy, so it's got the little 9mm upper. It's original Colt, whatever. And I was down doing a video with Eric and Chad, and Chad says, "Man, I wouldn't shoot much 9mm through that upper," and I was like, "Why?" Because I never thought about this. And he said a lot of rounds with a blowback design will eventually elongate the pinholes where the firing pin and everything goes, and it'll ruin your lower. Now, if it's a $50 lower, that's one thing, but obviously transferable has some investment value to it. But, bending or cracking is become a thought process for some pieces.
Yeah, that seems like a specialized situation, though.
It is. It is.
Nowadays with ARs, man, at the prices that they are, you can, you can have one for every day of the week.
But we are mostly talking about the post-apocalyptic scenario, and your average guy is not going to have 10 ARs. You know, they might have one, maybe two, and you want to make sure that they'll run. So, can I tell you what my fun guns that I'm looking forward to coming out?
Okay, yes, hit us with it.
So, the Ruger PC9 Charger pistol.
Okay,
you know, the PC carbine has been out for a while, and I really kind of been admiring that gun. You know, it's a very affordable 9mm, takes Glock mags. You know, that's always the big issue. But you know, they've come out with the Charger version. So now it's really short and compact. It's got a 6.5-inch barrel. It's a takedown, so you can put it in a backpack. It comes with a 1913 rail on the back of it, so it'll accept any of the brace systems. JMac Customs makes tons of like adapters for the SIG folding brace and you name it. And it's got a threaded barrel, and I love suppressed. I have become a kind of a suppressed snob. And, you know, all of us in the gun community know it's not ninja quiet, but, man,
everybody should have suppressed. Come on now. Every gun should be suppressed, in my opinion.
I don't want to tick my neighbor off, you know. And this is real scenarios for me. You know, I hear my daughter screaming, there's a possum in the front yard that's trying to get in the chicken coop. You know, well, it's 11 o'clock at night, you know, running out there with a 12 gauge. And I don't have, you know, really close neighbors, but still, 11 or 12 o'clock at night, they're like, oh, what's that shot? But you know what? I can sneak out there with a suppressed 9mm and boop, boop, you know, take care of business and, you know, save the day.
Yeah. By now you should have drones for that, man.
Actually, my brother-in-law has a thermal drone. That was the wildest thing we used for some of the TV footage that we did. And he was playing around. You know, we just did it in color for TV, but he's like, "Hey, look at this!" You know, he's like flying over my cows, and so I actually posted that to my Instagram. So, if you guys watching want to find some fun stuff, you can find Bear Creek Cattle Company on Instagram. You can also find my personal one at Will Beattie Official. Nobody can spell Beattie. So I'm sure you'll see the spelling on some of the
some of us can't say it right. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up Bear. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I gotta figure out why I can't run my phone into this thing. I gotta figure that out. I forgot to do it. Okay, Bear Creek Cattle Company. That's the IG, right?
Yep,
that's the main one. Was that your only thing that you're looking forward to? You know, did you have any other like?
Yeah, I did. So I got a gun part that I'm looking for. So this year I built a ultralight precision rifle, and I used Proof Industries carbon fiber barrel. I'm blanking on the receiver. Gosh, it was basically it was a Remington 700 pattern, but I had it custom made. It was really cool, and I used the Iota Defense carbon fiber camo stock and HS Precision bottom metal. Blah 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 blah.
Super light.
I built this. Super light, but then the base and mount for my scope was super heavy, and you know I was just like, I spent all this money to make it so light, and then I just added it for like $200, you know, put all the weight back on it. So American Defense Manufacturing, I just saw this, you know, and by the way, guys, I'm just a regular citizen that's a gun enthusiast. None of these people that I'm mentioning names, I don't have any affiliation with them, don't get anything free. But anyway, I was looking at American Defense Manufacturing, and they've really gotten quite a reputation in the industry for building quality optics mounts. You know, they build them for aim point and all this other, and they're coming out with a full titanium scope mount. And I can't wait to see the specs. I've got to imagine. So
I think I handled that at SHOT Show. It was they're not messing around, man. They've got lots of titanium parts that they're actually making.
Yeah. And the other, you know, and there's a big push to titanium. So I do have a good relationship with Michael over at Rugged Suppressors. I believe I own one of every single can they've ever produced, and I thought I had them all. And I was down at Quiet Right in McDonough, Georgia, and just picking up something else. And I was talking to the guys. He's like, "Hey, have you seen this Rugged can?" And I'm thinking, "Oh man, I've got them all," you know. And he hands me the Radiant, which is all titanium. And like you put it on the end of the barrel, and I just got it out of NFA jail, and it went on my my 308. But man, you can't tell that sucker is there. And the only reason I mention that is I see like a trend of titanium and reducing weight in the industry, and I'm digging it, man. Because carrying around a heavy rifle when you're actually using it out there and you're hunting and you're packing it around, whatever, man. I'm all about the lightweight.
Yeah. Here's the thing I challenge Walter to make: the lightweight AK. Can we make an AK? Can we make an AK out of carbon fiber and titanium? Can it be done?
Oh, it can be done. I guarantee it. And if it can be,
it's just going to cost a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
yeah,
I would totally get. Listen, I do have AKs, by the way. I am into AKs, so. But I would love to have a super lightweight AK like that. Can you think about that for a second? Carbon fiber, some magnesium, some titanium stuff thrown in there.
The only downside that I'll say that will come with it is just like on this super light 308, you get a little more recoil because some of that heavier weight in the AK, and you were talking about the recoil difference between that and the AR platform. You make it super light. It's probably going to kick like a little mule. It'll be light, but I'm not real recoil sensitive, but that exists.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
Clover, what kind of? First of all, I noticed you got a Transformers shirt on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out. Let me see. Hold on. Which one is this? Okay, there we go. Optimus. Cool. That's like an '80s one.
Oh, I don't know. It was I can't even remember the name. There's a place on eBay, man, that if you're into retro tees, dude, they're depending on what you get between like $10 and $13 a piece, free shipping.
Oh, cool.
Can't beat it, man.
Yeah. So what videos do you have coming out here? We've got like 10 minutes, so before we get out of here, I do want to like plug your YouTube channel.
I've got
what stuff can the folks look forward to here?
Well, one thing that's kind of neat is on the every Thursday I do the Nerd Chat, the After Hours Chat. That'll happen again tonight. We're going to talk about thumbnails and channel art. And anyway, last week we did some channel reviews of some smaller channels like myself and a few others out there. And I've been in the process of breaking those down because that live stream was nearly 4 hours long. And dude, the odds of people watching that in replay were slim, and I really wanted to get the word out on some of these smaller channels doing good work. So
okay, cool.
I've been breaking those down into each segment, each channel we reviewed, and I'm releasing those after midnight my time, 3 at a time every night. So
tell us real quick, a couple of small channels out there that folks should be looking at if you don't mind.
Well, some of them have grace your chat and stuff like that. Gorillas and Guns was on the list. Elster's, Todd's channel, of course, we reviewed his. One comes to mind called Defense Dad, very small channel. Another one, RTAC and Daughters, the guy and his daughters. It's called the letter RTAC and Daughters. Several others. If you don't want to watch the entire nearly 4 hour live stream, just click on that video and go to the description, and I've actually got all the channel links in that description, so
cool.
People can check out the different channels from there. But a lot of cool stuff. Got with time off more or less now because we don't got NRA, I don't have Tulsa, we don't have all these things going. So been working hard on the written reviews and then of course the video side of thing. Finishing up with the Glock 44. Over 4,000 rounds through it. Have one written review, 2 videos out. Gonna drop an accuracy video on it in the next week. Glock makes a claim. Glock likes to make claims, right?
That's the 22.
The 22, right?
Yeah.
They claim on their website that it has the Glock marksmanship barrel, the GMB, barrel, and how it's accurate and blah blah blah. So I go through and been doing some accuracy testing on it to see what they actually mean by accurate, right?
Okay. Overall, what do you think about the G? I'm sorry. Overall, what do you think about the G44? Liking it? Not liking it?
I like it.
You do?
I love it. Yeah. It for what it is. It's not a Buckmark, which is my absolute favorite 22 pistol.
Okay.
It's not a Ruger Mark. It's not a Smith & Wesson Victory. Those are more target, style pistols. Totally different experience. But yeah, for just get out plinking on some steel and stuff like that, it's fun as all get out.
And I've
had no
big
significant issues except for 3. So far, out of 4,000 rounds, I've found 3 ammunitions that give me problems. And that was Norma Match 22. Try to remember which ones it was. Remington Subsonic, and what was the other one? Magtech Standard Velocity was the 3 out of nearly over 4,000 rounds at this point that I had issues with.
Okay, so you would say, I mean, and I recommend people please go over to CloverTac on YouTube and all his other social media, including Gunstreamer, and follow up on it. But you would recommend this as a buy for folks out there?
Yeah, if you're looking for something, I mean, if you're already a Glock person, especially, and if you're wanting something for the kids that match Daddy's Glock or whatever, something like, I mean, it's viable.
Yeah.
We'll see once I'm done with the accuracy testing. I think that it could be, especially with potential aftermarket parts becoming available before too long, hopefully this year. I think it probably will be a viable option for some steel challenge and some speed steel matches and things like that. Precision pistol, it is not, so I don't expect much out of the accuracy testing. But
what do you think about the price?
Still gonna go through it.
Where are you on the price of it?
Completely depends on where you get it. I'm seeing them here. I mean, right now, we're in a screwed up time, right? Before all of this happened, I seen them for right around the $300, $309, $319.
Okay. What about the receivers? So I travel for TV, and I ended up getting my concealed carry permit in the state of Minneapolis because Georgia is not a reciprocal state with Minnesota. They used the Glock 44. We had to do the live fire exercise. I loved it. And I was like, man, I'm going to buy it right now. And then I started researching it, and I heard a lot of talk about the receivers, the plastic receivers cracking. Is there any truth to that?
I have not had any issues. Now, there's 2 things I'll say about the cracks. Let me check our time here. I don't want to run over.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, Clover. Get what you need to get.
2 issues with a 44. Number one is, and I heard the same stories. I was hearing a lot of backlash about it's a piece of junk, this, that, and the other. And so, I was totally happy when Glock sent me one to check out because I wanted to see for myself. I deal with a lot of 22, have for many, many years. And so I thought, well, maybe some of the issues they're having is because people just don't understand 22. And I got it, and the cracking in the slide or whatever it was in the back of my mind. So took it out, did not notice anything wrong with this thing prior to about 300 rounds. At about the 300 round mark, I noticed what appeared to be a crack just behind, or just below, rather, the extractor, to the rear of the extractor, just below on the slide. And I pretty much come unglued at that point. I was mad because the slide was starting to crack on my, the 300 rounds into this G44, right? About another 100 rounds, because I went ahead and shot it. I'm like, okay, it's the frame of the slide is metal. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shoot it till the extractor falls out, I guess, basically, right? So about another 100 rounds in, I noticed a similar, what looked like a crack at the front of the ejection port, if I can talk. So basically what looked like 2 cracks. Did some homework, shut it down at the range at that point. I was mad. I was going to call Glock, whatever. Talked to some other people that had the G44s that evening. Looked at some pictures online, hit the gun store the following day, looked at some brand new ones. That's a mold mark. It's not a crack. And what's crazy is I didn't notice it. It was 300 rounds in before I noticed the one little line, and it was nearly 400 rounds in before I noticed the second. But those aren't cracks. So
some hysteria taking over.
I don't know if people are confusing that, or at least early, right? When they first came out. I don't know if people were confusing that for a crack. The second thing is, again, I've shot a ton of 22 in my lifetime, ammo and firearms. Hyper velocity ammo, anything through this G44 at 1,400 feet a second or higher. That includes your Stingers, that
Vipers,
includes all of that stuff. I wouldn't recommend it. It does not feel right to me. The recoil impulse, everything is real harsh to me on it. And I can see if you run a lot of rounds, those type of rounds through there, potentially you could have a problem because there's a lot of polymer in that slide.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You're putting out a series of videos on this, right?
On what's that?
On the G44.
I've already got 2. I've got
Okay.
1,000 round review, 2,500 round review, and then a 3,000 round written review.
Is that on Gunstreamer?
They're
or
on
YouTube?
Gunstreamer. Absolutely, they're on Gunstreamer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now the written review is on gear-report.com. So I write.
Okay.
So
All right.
awesome.
Yeah. I recommend anyone out there who's interested in it, go check that out. Check out all sides of the data on this. I think. Was there something else that you wanted to ask on top of that, Will?
No, that covered it.
Okay, cool. We're getting close to 9. I know Clover has stuff to do, so let's start wrapping up here. Clover, tell the folks out there how they can, how and where they can find you and what they can do to support you on in all your efforts.
More so than the support is the engagement. We do a lot of cool stuff over on Patreon. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I work really hard on Patreon. I enjoy the engagement over there. So
yeah,
there's
I think
a lot
you
of cool
engaged
things.
the living bejeebus out of Patreon.
Well, yeah, Hank's a patron. He knows. You see all the posts and other things. We do a lot of cool things. We do a lot of contests. So I'm really appreciative of the support that people give over there. And so it's just my way of giving back. CloverTac.com gets you on all the platforms. Hank knows I'm pretty much anywhere and everywhere that'll have me. I've got a presence, so you can usually, whatever your poison is on social media, I'm probably there, and you can follow. We talked about Gunstreamer earlier tonight, and so I do want to pimp out the special series. I do have a Gunstreamer-only series of videos. I've got a little project, mainly on Instagram, called the FUD Life Project, and as part of that, little short videos that are going up on Gunstreamer. It's the only place you'll find them. Rare and unique and kind of off the beaten path firearms. It's just little 2-minute maybe videos about the manufacturing dates of the firearms, when they were made, how many were made, the specifications and features and that sort of thing. Just cool little firearms. So go check those out and support Gunstreamer at the same time.
Awesome. Good stuff. Please get out there and support Clover. We probably need to have you on here a little bit more, and a whole bunch of other people. Probably in that series that you're talking about, smaller channels, we should try to figure out a way that maybe we can get some smaller channels on here more than, I think we already try to do that, but maybe we need to do a show or something like that where we get some of those guys, we help some of those guys out. So, I think CloverTac is doing some serious stuff out there. If you guys support him, I would appreciate that. Let's go to Will. How can the folks out there keep up with you? How can they get their meat?
Okay, a few things. First, I'd like to tell you thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys and to be able to engage with such good discussion for the folks out there. But to support us, there's a number of ways. One, something fun that we're going to do. We just had a recent giveaway on our Instagram. I did it both on my personal page, or personal account rather, Will Beattie Official, and that's WILLBEATTIE Official _official. And we did a giveaway there. We did a giveaway on Bear Creek Cattle Company on Instagram, and we had a ton of engagement. For each account, I shipped 24 burgers to the winners, and
cool.
we're going to be doing that again. I just shipped that out this week. The giveaway ended last Friday, and it went out this week to the winners independently, and we're going to do that again. So if folks want to help themselves during this time, we would love to have their participation. It's super simple. I think the requirements were just follow us and tag a couple of your friends. So we're going to do something similar.
Cool.
So they can look for me and Bear Creek Cattle Company and a number of places coming up. One, I mentioned this earlier in the show, but for those that just joined, Eric with Iraq Veteran 8888 was very courteous to invite me to participate in 2 different episodes. One is going to be a 5 guns episodes picked by a farmer. And we also we had a gun
5
gripes.
guns for farmers. I can see it now.
Yep.
And there's an AK in there for sure.
Nope.
Okay.
That's the twist.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but you'll have to watch to find out the 5 that I picked and why.
Okay.
We also did a gun gripes, and we kind of talked about the little guy, the rural guy, and how rural America is being forgotten, and the urban areas are controlling the political venues. So, please tune in via YouTube to the Iraq Veteran 8888 YouTube channel and watch for that. Also, this Sunday on Shop HQ, that stands for headquarters, Shop Headquarters, and they're basically a direct competitor of the Home Shopping Network and QVC. It's a very similar network, but we do have a regular TV show, and that's going to be coming up more and more often. It's coming this Sunday, and it's called The Sizzle. To find out what channel applies to you, we're on both satellite providers and all major cable providers nationwide. You can go to shophq.com/channel finder, or if you visit my Instagram, it's not that hard to scroll down. You'll find one of the posts where we're announcing an upcoming show, and it's got the channel guide and all the information right there on our Instagram post and Facebook. You can also find us on Bear Creek Cattle Company. But again, it's called The Sizzle. I'll be on from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time this Sunday morning, and you can order your steaks and beef via the TV show. They've got a 1-800 number you can call in, or at any time on shophq.com.
Absolutely cool. I've had your meat before, and I know that sounds weird.
Hey, what? Yeah, that's
it's good stuff. It's good
crazy.
stuff. And maybe we'll work out something, because I know we're giving away stuff through hankstrange.com. Maybe we'll work with you on a giveaway or something like that and get it out.
I'd love to send some down. I think you need your memory refreshed to begin with,
yes,
and then
absolutely.
once you become re-enthusiastic about how great the Taste of Bear Creek Cattle Company beef is, and folks, if you never had it, beef is not just beef. And I know we're going to an end here, but if you will give us a try, I can assure you that you will be well pleased. We've got thousands and thousands of customers. We're just a small family-owned and operated farm in North Georgia. We've just had some very fortunate opportunities, but I'm still the same guy. I'm still out there producing it every day, and I make sure that what we put out is going to represent my name well.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. And we'll do follow-ups. We'll get both of these guys back here. I think it's been a great show. Let me remind everyone out there, go to hankstrange.com, get up on that email list. We got tons of stuff we're giving away. I think we're giving away a holster from Sam Andrews. We've got a bunch of other cool stuff. We've got guns, all that stuff we're going to be giving away. Probably some meat coming up that we'll be giving away as well. So go to hankstrange.com, get up on the email list there. Let me drop the end right now so that we can let Clover get out of here. Make sure you guys subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified. Obviously, from what YouTube is saying, it's not working so great right now until we get out of this. So in the meanwhile, we're going to be here tomorrow. We'll be here the week after that. So just look out for us. Follow me on Twitter. It's the easiest way if you want to be notified when we're going up. All right. Any last words, guys?
Goodbye, America.
Thumb it up before you leave. Thumb it up.
We will get out of this soon.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Amen. We're out of here. Peace.